Hey guys, Sam Reese here at Heavy Tech, and today we're going to talk about a newfound hobby that I've decided to get to, which is part of the PC building space, is mechanical keyboards. The DIY kind. No, the DIY. Yeah, DIY kind. To be like, hey, Sam, why would you want to do something that will bleed even more money from your wallet in the form of this hobby? I don't know. I watched a video from Christopher Yee. Yeah, okay. Where he was talking about his experience with mechanical keyboards. So I decided to follow a little bit of his advice and get involved with it. And now I can tell you that, yeah, he was right about a lot of things. So if you're not familiar with him, I feel like, I'm gonna share my experiences with you guys, and there's only a couple of points that I think you guys really know, so I'm kind of gonna dumb it down. If you really want to see how all this stuff really works out, I'll put a lot of links to different videos down below so you guys can go ahead and get all that specified information. First things first, if you think that this is something that's quick or easy for you to order and then get your hands on, you're absolutely wrong. Most of this stuff, if not all of it, comes from China. So if you are under some sort of timetable to get a certain project done, or you want to get a keyboard built, it's probably better if you just go ahead and plan ahead, because it's not going to get here anytime soon. There are vendors on Amazon where you can order some of these parts, and I think like the quickest I've ever seen something come was about 5 days. So you can get like little beginner kits, which I suggest if this is the one thing that you're trying to get into. You can get a beginner kit, and I'll talk a little bit more about that later in the video after I get some of the hardcore stuff out of the way. So, like I said before, if you're under some sort of time crunch, don't bet on it. It's going to be a while before it gets here. There are a couple of websites that I've encountered personally. KDB Fans probably has to be one of my favorites so far. There's others like KeyCold, One Up Keyboards, and another one. But most of them are pretty reputable, and if not, they share most of the same parts or maybe the same vendors, but then they have some specialty items that they offer for themselves. Okay, point number 2. There is a whole lot of variety when it comes to like doing this. There are different formats for the keyboards, and there's only a couple of basic parts that you need to put one of these together. There is the PCB or the motherboard for the keyboard. You can either get it in a couple of variants, which is you can get it with or without RGB, and hot swappable or not. Now what hot swappable means is like you can go ahead and plug any switch in it. That's a little thing that you press on that's below the keycap that actuates, tells the PCB that it's the letter Q, E, F, whatever the function is. So you can get those either in hot swap, which I recommend it's the first time that you're doing this, or you're one of those people that like to really customize and switch out parts constantly. I have nothing but hot swap boards because I think they're great, but I did purchase a solder iron kit if I wanted to have something a little bit more permanent, and have a really solid board. So after the PCB, you have what's called the base plate or the plate. That's what the switches actually plug into, kind of holds them there, holds everything in place. Along with the plate, you're gonna need stabilizers, and those are for like your longer keys, kind of like your inner keys, space bar, shift, where the key is a little bit longer, so it adds stability so you're not like wobbling like to and fro. After that, like I said, it's a switch yourself, and there are all kinds of switches from all kinds of people, from Cherry, Kale, Gateron. You can take your pick if you're going to do that, and like I said, you're one of those people that like to really switch stuff out and do different stuff all the time. Get you a switch tester if you like a whole bunch of different types of switches, and you can sit there and kind of test it out before you buy like 65 pieces or 100 pieces and solder onto one board and then realize that you don't like the switches. After the switches, you have the keycaps. So that's what you see on normal keyboards. It plugs into the switch, and that is a smorgasbord of all kinds of stuff anyways. So you can get custom keycaps, you can get them on almost any color that you want, whether they're backlit, whether they're old school, whether you want them double shot, if you want them clear. So your imagination is the only limit you have to like doing something like this. And then one of the last thing is the case itself, which you can usually either get in plastic or aluminum or some other metal. If you're willing to pay for it, I'm pretty sure somebody will be able to make it. And that's what holds the entire assembly together. So like, you have the plate, I mean the case, the plate is right here, the switches and the keycaps, and then of course the stabilizers are in with the plates. Now the only caveat with plates is really what kind of stabilizers you want to use. You can use plate mounted stabilizers, which is what I've been using lately. I haven't used any PCB mounted stabilizers, and it's exactly what it sounds like. Either the stabilizer is going to mount to the plate itself, which I think is a little less common than the stabilizers that actually mount to the PCB. And then if you want to mount it to the PCB, you have the snap-in kind, or you have the screw-in type. And from what I've heard around town, the screw-in type are a little more solid. And then there are different mods you can do to the whole setup itself if you want it to be less noisy, or if you want a more solid feel. There's like bushings you can use. There's something called a Band-Aid mod, and there's a whole lot of information. And this is the part of the video where the audio actually comes in, because I forgot to hit the record button early on. Sorry. So now we're going to talk about the PCB itself. And that comes in all kinds of variants. Probably the most common that people have seen be like 104. Like, you know, that's like 100% keyboard layout. So like what you would commonly see, like that you would have, that maybe you would see from like Corsair or Steel Series, something like that. That's probably 104 key, 100% keyboard layout. The most common probably in one of these DIY that I believe has the most support is the 60%. Most people, some people that I've encountered don't really like 60%. You're missing a number pad, you don't have any function keys. It's really, really bare bones. I like them for gaming. So I do have a regular keyboard, 104 key that has number pad, function keys, all that stuff for my day-to-day typing or use. And then I pull out my custom keyboard when I want to play video games, because it's just how I like it. I have speed switches. It's very small keyboard and in very limited function that I needed to do, and I think it's just great. And when I'm done with it, I can just slide it off on another part of my desk when I don't need it, and then pull it out when I need it, things of that nature. So with like the 60%, it's not really like a one-to-one, but it's like kind of close. It'll be like anywhere from like what I'm seeing, like 60, 61 keys or 62 keys. And then there's like 65% keyboards or 65% PCBs. And what it is the bigger PCB, it keeps going up all the way to like 100%. I think there's like 75%, 85%. And that lets you know about how many keys will be fitting on the PCB. Now, if you go from like 60%, where the PCBs are actually pretty reasonable for anywhere like $45 to like $65, depending if you want hot swap or RGB. Now, if you want like a full like 104 key set, then yeah, dude, it's gonna be a couple $100s. So the price of these items exponentially skyrocket the larger and more keys that are on the PCB. So the size of the keyboard you use is gonna dictate a lot about the price. Of course, if you have more, if you have a larger PCB, you're gonna need more switches, you're gonna need a bigger plate, you're gonna need probably the same amount of stabilizers, and then you're gonna need a bigger case. And you know, it can be, you probably could get away with a nice custom keyboard for about $140, $150, bare bones, to, you know, $300, $400, thousands of dollars, depending on, you know, what metals or what custom keycaps you use. Now, since we've covered variety, now we're covering up the assembly. Now, back when I said before about whether you want it hot swappable or not, that's what another caveat that you're gonna have to deal with. So if you just wanna like plug it in and go, then definitely recommend the hot swap boards. If you're a little more hands-on, you want something a little more permanent, then you can go ahead and solder the switches onto the board themselves. So if you're doing that, I definitely suggest that you invest in a very good soldering iron that has temperature control, you know, and then again, it's the same thing. You can either cheap out or you can spend a little bit of money and get something nice, anywhere from about, I don't know, $20 on Amazon to a couple $100 for a whole station where it has all sorts of heat ranges. So really have to do your homework to kind of ascertain what you want out of the keyboard, because there's so much information out there of what to do and not to do. A lot of it's subjective. There's a couple of things that are objective when it comes to this hobby, but as long as you do a little bit of homework, you should be okay with dealing with it. Okay, so we'll just move on to the information where you can buy stuff like this. A great starter kit, one that I picked up myself. I got it on Amazon from a vendor called YMDK. So far, I can tell the products are actually pretty solid. And you'll get a case, a backplate, PCB, and stabilizers for like 45, 60 bucks. Now, if you want to move on to like maybe like an aluminum case, it bumps it up to 85. So the only thing that you need to buy extra is switches and keycaps. What I also saw on Amazon, you can get a set of switches, like 65, a bag of like 65 pieces for about like 30 bucks. So with that, the switches, and some keycaps probably for like another 20 or so dollars. So you can get a keyboard, so you can get like a complete keyboard for about like 130 bucks. You can spend almost as little or as much money as you want to in this sort of hobby. But I think it's, you know, oddly satisfying. That's that extra touch. And if you guys want to see more videos like these of me putting stuff together like this, or explaining more what I know about mechanical keyboards, leave comments down below to see if you guys actually like the content for today. So if you like the video, give it a thumbs up. If you didn't like the video, give it a thumbs down. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button and the notification bell so you know when a new video is going to be released here on the channel. And like always, guys, be awesome, be heavy. We'll see you on the next one. Have a nice day.